Germany's history is one of the most dramatic and consequential in human history. It is a story of tribes and empires, faith and fragmentation, unity and catastrophe. For much of its past, Germany did not exist as a single nation. Instead, it was a land divided into hundreds of states, bound together by language and culture, but separated by power, religion, and ambition. From the heart of Europe, German lands shaped the fate of the continent again and again. How did a region without unity become one of the most powerful nations in the modern world? And why has Germany's past been marked by both extraordinary achievement and devastating destruction? This is the entire history of Germany. Chapter 1. Tribes, Rome, and the birth of a frontier. Long before Germany existed as a nation, the region was home to many Germanic tribes. These communities were not unified under a single ruler or identity. They were bound by kinship, local loyalty, and warrior culture, living in a landscape shaped by rivers, forests, and shifting borders. The Rhine and the Danube became more than geography. They became the edges of empires. To the south and west, Rome expanded its power into Gaul and beyond, building roads, forts, and trade networks. Roman commanders attempted to push into the Germanic lands, but controlling them proved difficult. The terrain was harsh, the tribes were mobile, and loyalty to Rome was fragile. In 9 AD, Rome suffered one of its most famous defeats in the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, when Germanic forces ambushed and destroyed 3 Roman legions. This disaster helped freeze the imperial frontier. The Rhine remained a dividing line between Roman administration and Germanic autonomy for centuries. Even so, contact never stopped. Trade crossed the border, Roman goods entered Germanic societies, and Germanic warriors served in Roman armies. As Roman authority weakened in the 300s and 400s, migration and conflict accelerated. Germanic groups moved into Roman territory, not as a single wave, but as many movements driven by opportunity, pressure, and survival. When the Western Roman Empire collapsed, Germanic kingdoms emerged across its former lands. These early states blended Roman law, Christian institutions, and Germanic leadership traditions. In the eastern regions, the roots of medieval German power began to form. Frankish rulers consolidated authority, and Christianity became a central organizing force. Over time, the idea of a Christian empire in the West would grow, and German lands would become its core. Chapter 2. The Holy Roman Empire and a Land of Many Germanies. In the early Middle Ages, German lands became the heart of the Holy Roman Empire, a political structure that claimed continuity with ancient Rome, but operated through medieval realities. It was an empire in name, but never a centralized nation. Power was shared, negotiated, and often contested between emperors, princes, bishops, and free cities. The empire's strength was also its weakness. Decentralization allowed local regions to thrive, but it prevented lasting unity. Great noble families governed territories like near-independent states. Prince-bishops ruled large lands with church authority. Free imperial cities gained wealth through trade and self-government. The emperor relied on alliances and prestige, not a permanent national bureaucracy. German cities grew powerful. Trade expanded along the Rhine and through the Baltic and North Sea. The Hanseatic League linked ports and merchants across northern Europe, making German towns central to commerce. Craft guilds, markets, and city councils created strong local identities. In many places, urban wealth rivaled noble power. Culture and learning expanded as well. Cathedrals rose, universities formed, and new legal traditions spread. Yet rivalry remained constant. Conflicts between emperors and popes, between princes and cities, and between dynasties weakened cohesion. In the south and east, the empire faced pressures from neighboring powers. In the west, France slowly grew stronger. By the late Middle Ages, the Holy Roman Empire was deeply fragmented. It could mobilize for war and diplomacy, but it could not easily impose a unified vision. Germany was not one political body. It was many Germanys sharing language, customs, and faith, but divided by borders and ambition. By the early 1500s, German lands were economically vibrant and politically complex, but the foundations were unstable. One movement, sparked by a monk and a printed pamphlet, would fracture the empire's unity more deeply than any invasion. And the conflict that followed would turn German territory into the main battlefield of Europe. Chapter 3: Reformation, Religious War, and the 30 Years' Catastrophe. In 1517, Martin Luther challenged the authority of the Catholic Church, and the shockwave spread rapidly through the German lands. The Reformation was not only theological, it was political, economic, and social. Princes and city leaders saw an opportunity to assert independence from Rome, and in many cases, from imperial authority as well. Printing accelerated everything. Ideas that once would have travelled slowly now moved across regions at unprecedented speed. Germany became the central arena of Europe's religious division. Territories chose sides, Catholic or Protestant, and these choices often aligned with power struggles rather than pure belief. Attempts to restore unity failed repeatedly. Compromises were temporary, tensions permanent. Religious identity became tied to state identity, and that made conflict harder to resolve. These divisions exploded into the 30 Years' War, beginning in 1618. What started as a conflict inside the empire escalated into a wider European struggle involving major powers. German territories became the battleground where armies marched, looted, and fought. The war's destruction was not only military, it was economic and demographic. Towns burned, farms were abandoned, and famine and disease followed armies like shadows. The scale of suffering was immense. Entire regions were depopulated. Local economies collapsed. Political authority fragmented further as rulers struggled to defend their lands. The war ended in 1648 with the Peace of Westphalia, which confirmed that German princes had significant sovereignty within the empire. The emperor remained, but the empire became even looser. Westphalia shaped modern Europe by embedding the concept of territorial sovereignty, but for German lands it also meant delay. While other states consolidated, Germany remained a patchwork. Yet resilience endured. Cities rebuilt, trade resumed, and cultural life continued. Fragmentation would persist, but the desire for order and strength would also grow. Chapter 4: Prussia, Napoleon, and the Road to Unification. From the late 1600s into the 1700s, two powers increasingly defined German politics: Austria and Prussia. Austria held imperial prestige and vast dynastic lands. Prussia built disciplined military and administrative systems that turned a relatively modest state into a European heavyweight. Their rivalry shaped the German world for generations. Meanwhile, the wider European balance shifted. The Enlightenment and economic change influenced German thinkers and institutions. German culture produced major philosophical and artistic movements, even as politics remained divided. This contrast became a defining theme, a shared cultural space without a unified state. The French Revolution and the rise of Napoleon transformed everything. Napoleon's armies swept across Europe, dismantling old structures. In 1806, the Holy Roman Empire was dissolved, ending a political order that had lasted for around 1,000 years. German territories were reorganized, and the experience of French domination spread nationalist ideas. For many, the question became clear. If Germany could share culture and language, why not share a state? After Napoleon's defeat, the German Confederation formed, but unity remained distant. The 1800s brought industrialization. Railways connected cities, factories expanded, and new working classes emerged. Economic integration grew faster than political integration, especially through the Zollverein customs union, which reduced barriers between many German states and strengthened Prussia's influence. Nationalist movements pushed for unification, but revolutions in 1848 failed to create a single German democracy. Power remained with monarchs and elites. The path to unity would come not through idealism, but through strategic warfare. Under Prussian leadership, Otto von Bismarck orchestrated a sequence of conflicts that reshaped the map. War against Denmark, then against Austria, and finally against France in 1870 to 1871 created the conditions for unification. In 1871, the German Empire was proclaimed. For the first time, a unified Germany existed as a major European power, industrial, militarized, and ambitious. This new Germany changed the balance of the continent instantly. Its economic growth was rapid. Its military reputation was formidable. Its political structure combined modern administration with authoritarian elements, and this mixture would have major consequences in the decades ahead. Chapter 5. World Wars, Division, Reunification, and Germany Today. Germany's rapid rise brought tension with other powers. Rival alliances formed, and Europe moved toward catastrophe. In 1914, World War I began, and Germany became a central actor in a conflict that consumed the continent. After years of grinding war, Germany collapsed in 1918. The monarchy fell. Revolution erupted. The new Weimar Republic emerged under immense pressure, burdened by economic crisis and political extremism. Hyperinflation destroyed savings and trust. Later, the global economic depression deepened suffering. Extremist movements exploited fear and humiliation. In 1933, the Nazis took power, turning Germany into a dictatorship built on propaganda, repression, and racial ideology. The regime rearmed, expanded aggressively, and pursued policies that led directly to World War II. The war brought devastation across Europe and culminated in Germany's defeat in 1945. The moral and physical destruction was overwhelming. Cities lay in ruins. The Holocaust left a scar that would define Germany's historical responsibility forever. Germany was occupied and divided. Out of the ruins came two German states, West Germany aligned with the Western Bloc and East Germany under Soviet influence. The Cold War turned Germany into a front line of global confrontation. Berlin became the ultimate symbol, divided by a wall that represented not only politics, but separate lives. West Germany experienced economic recovery and democratic consolidation. East Germany built a controlled state marked by surveillance, restricted movement, and political repression. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell, and in 1990, Germany reunified. The process was historic and difficult, requiring economic transformation, political integration, and social adaptation. Over time, Germany emerged as a leading democratic and economic power in Europe, deeply tied to European integration and global trade. Modern Germany carries the weight of its past while shaping its future. It is a country built on memory, responsibility, and reconstruction. Its history shows how fragmentation can become unity, how power can become catastrophe, and how societies can rebuild after collapse. Germany's story is a reminder that history is never only what happened. It is what remains and what people choose to do with it. Germany's past is a story of ideas and empires, of unity and rupture, of collapse and renewal. Few countries have shaped Europe so profoundly, and few have had to confront the consequences of their own power so directly. If you enjoyed this journey through history, give this video a like and subscribe for more. And to continue exploring the great forces that shaped Europe, click here to watch the history of the British Empire.